What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sivaady Unleashed, and let's just dive right into today's newest video. And we got Kayleigh McEnany. And why don't people act more like this? You guys are about to see this right now. Some of the women have more balls than what the men have, and that's true on the Democrat side for sure. If you know exactly what I mean. No, this is what we need. People talking like this. Real solutions, trying to get a problem solved instead of playing games and trying to run out the clock. I love what she says right here. Just very simple, right to the point. Check this out.
Let me make this really simple. No one's winning. Not Republicans, not Democrats. When military members cannot pay their bills, when air traffic controllers are calling out because they get zeros on their paycheck, when our safety is at issue in the skies, no one is winning. We are all losing. And why? Because Democrats, they got a chance to vote to pay the military. Fine, you don't want to open up the government? How about pay the military essential workers? Guess how many Democrats voted to do that? 3. John Fetterman, Raphael Warnock, and John Ossoff. 3 Democrats voted to pay the military. Now John Kennedy says, let's vote to remove our pay until military members get paid. Can't wait to see how many Democrats vote on that. Let me propose a very simple solution here. Filibuster, not in the Constitution. Filibuster, not passed legislatively. Filibuster can be removed for the sole purpose of spending bills. You can just remove the filibuster and open the government. When military members are hurting, when we are not safe in the skies, it is time to nuke the filibuster for spending bills because Democrats are hurting our country.
And she's 1,000% right. When the military and these air traffic controllers and all these people aren't getting paid, ain't nobody winning in that situation whatsoever. The SNAP and all that, that's a whole debate for another day. People completely abuse SNAP and all that. But our military and air traffic controllers and all that should be getting paid, period. And we know what's all going on. The Democrats trying to hold this out and trying to hold Trump's feet to the fire. It's not going to work. You're not going to get this guy to submit. So they're just going to keep on prolonging this garbage. And the media just backs them up. Because if the media was on them, all the polls would be going against them and people would be waking up and they'd be complaining and all that. As long as the media runs cover for them, it's no big deal. They just hide any story about anybody lashing out. But this is what she's talking. This is just common sense. Getting rid of the filibuster, even for this small issue, because we see how weak the Republicans are. That's the problem. It's just pure weakness, and things never get done by these individuals. You got Rand Paul. I was talking about him before. He puts more effort into these terrorists that bring all these drugs in like fentanyl than he's ever did with any issue of the illegals coming across the border being wide open, people getting completely ripped off, crime in the streets, the elections being completely counterfeit. He doesn't put no energy into stuff like that. But when it comes to drug dealers, oh yeah, I'm on top of that. They need due process and all this garbage. That's the problem. They can't focus on winning and getting over the finish line. And here we have John Kennedy. And John Kennedy always throws in like a funny line and ha ha ha, nice little knee slapper. But he's not innocent in this. He's somebody that voted for all those omnibus bills and all that with Smokey Joe Biden. And he sided with them a lot with all that BS that they were shoving through and just running up the debt. So he's no innocent person in this whatsoever. Listen to what he says when he's asked about what Trump is saying. Let's get rid of the filibuster. Let's push all this stuff through and let's start winning. Listen to what he says.
Do you agree with President Trump that given what's at stake for the country, that it's time for Republicans to consider dumping out of the filibuster rule because the Democrats are obviously going to dump out of it themselves the next chance they get and run the table? Well, regardless of what Republicans do.
No, I don't agree with him. I'm not ready to get rid of the filibuster or the blue slip. I don't know what the Senate in the next Congress is going to look like. I think Republicans will hold the Senate. I think what President Trump is really frustrated about is the fact that the Senate's not doing anything, and he's right. We haven't done anything. We passed the one big beautiful bill, which we would not have been able to do without the president's involvement. And since then, we've done nothing. Zero, zilch, nada.
So look at the difference in response from him and Kayleigh. Look at that difference in response. That shows you and tells you everything that you need to know. Pure weakness. You hear what he said? Oh, I'm not going to, do the filibuster and all that. And we don't know what the Senate's going to look like next year. That's where he's looking at it. He's looking at it a year. He's not talking about fixing problems now. He's talking about next year. Then he has the audacity to go on and say, we haven't got nothing done. Well, that's the truth. You guys aren't getting any of this stuff done. Voter ID, citizenship verification, constitutional carry. Those are the things that need to get passed. Whatever happened to the Keystone Pipeline, Anwar up in Alaska? You open up that stuff, get all that stuff cracking, this economy will be smoking. Everything will be going down at that point. Including the gas will be amazing at that point. That's the wins that need to be focused on. Instead, they're playing games and trying to milk this until the holiday, I guess, for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. They do not work for the American people, period. A selective few of them, and that's why I like President Trump when he came onto the scene. Because he just he steamrolled all these people. He was talking about that's what he said with Hillary. All talk and no action. That's what these people are. They just talk and they don't do anything. They don't back anybody up. They don't pass any legislation. That's why he's saying, let's get rid of this filibuster. Let's open up the government. Let's get voter ID. Let's get rid of these mail-in ballots except for distant military in distant lands or somebody that's like a quadriplegic or something. Let's do this and let's get this stuff pushed forward. And you got people like John Kennedy that can come up with a joke at a drop of a hat, but has no solutions but to say, hey, we haven't got nothing done. You're damn right. And then a lot of them come on air. This is why we lost in New York and Virginia and all that. Gas could have been 50 cents a gallon. A gallon of milk could be 2 cents. A turkey could be $1. And Mondani still would have got elected in New York. That doesn't make a difference. Those people are completely, it doesn't matter. Trump could cure every form of cancer. That means nothing to these people. Same thing in Virginia and all that. This woman, these people up here talking about that they're going to keep men in the bathrooms with little girls. So that tells you how far. You can't convince those people. But this is what they do. They just sit up. Did you hear any of them talking about go out and vote in New York or in Virginia? Any of these senators? You don't hear a peep out of them. But then they come on to the shows and talk about, we're against blowing up the filibuster and, we don't know what's going to happen next year. I'm telling you, nothing will get done. All this time is going to tick by and nothing's going to get done because you have weak people. Even to remove the filibuster just for one issue. That's what Kayleigh's talking about. Just one issue, let's open up the government. They won't even do that. That's how weak they are. They do not play to win. That's the difference. The Democrats stick together. They say, listen, we're all going down with the ship. Let's do it. That's the advantage that they have. But then they had Manchin and then they had Cinema that just happened to be standing in the way. But they got rid of them and they'll have people right in there that are going to fall completely in line. The Republicans, you got all these snakes in the grass, all these people that are bought and paid for, that pretend they're on your side, but really they're not. Your Mitch McConnells and all these people that have been there since 1840. These people have been there and nothing gets done. We need people like Kayleigh, the people that are talking like that. Let's get some things done or just step aside. Step aside and shut your mouth because you're not helping anybody get anything forward. That's just the frustrating part to me. So sorry to go off on like a rant and all that stuff, but I'm saying right there is showing you exactly what the problem is. You got somebody speaking common sense. Let's fix these problems like Kayleigh and President Trump. And then you go over and you hear people like John Kennedy and all that just want to crack jokes and don't want to solve any issues. And there's other parts in the interview that's saying that the Democrats lied to them and they're not going to get nothing done. So if the Democrats lied to you and they promised you and they sold you a bill of goods and they never came through and they weren't going to vote, what makes you think that they're going to pass anything that Trump's agenda has? Or voter ID? You know that that not one Democrat will vote for voter ID. Or maybe John Fetterman at this point, because they're going to jettison him straight to Mars. That's exactly what's going to happen to him. But they're not going to fall in line and go with anything on the Republicans. So they have to do this with the filibuster to get something done. Or maybe I'm wrong. You guys tell me, have all this time we've been watching all this stuff over these years, will they get something done? Because they always fold like a banquet chair at the end of the night. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, I will catch you guys on the next one.